On everyone. So we got some news and updates in regards to Damian Lillard, the Portland Trail Blazers, and the Miami Heat. And it looks like talks may start picking up as they start inching closer to the start of training camp. So the expectations from those around this situation is that trade talks could pick up as the start of training camp inches closer. And if the Heat is the only team extending a serious offer for Lillard, then the Trailblazers may need to at least engage the Heat on some healthy trade discussions. So again, this is something that has been persistent, that Portland hasn't really been serious about trade requests and just having the conversations in good faith. Miami's really complained about it. I mean, there's even been Portland insiders that are usually on Portland's side that have been like, hey, look, Portland is just handling this terribly. They don't seem very serious. They don't seem like a team that's really trying to trade Damian Lillard. And look, up until the next couple weeks, there is no real major need or push. It's kind of like if somebody offers some big deal, then sure, take it, right? It's kind of like you have this kind of deadline of training camp, still 5 weeks away or whatever it is. Let's just be patient. See if maybe a team kind of feels like, hey, let's get desperate, or maybe a team comes out of left field or something happens. Maybe somebody offers a real deal. But from the looks of things, it just continues to be one destination, and that's the Miami Heat. And a lot of that is probably because, Damian Lillard and his management and the people around him have all basically told everybody, even though they tried to say that, no, they haven't. I mean, there's enough information to show, that they were running around telling everybody the Miami Heat. So, obviously, that probably throws a wrench in it. And teams are kind of like, it's not really worth it. Why are we going to go and trade for a guy just to go get him when he doesn't really ultimately want to be here? And is he the piece that puts us over the top, right? Is he the piece that we can maintain a championship contender, add Damian Lillard, and maybe we can compete for an NBA championship? Very few teams that could do that. Very few teams that could go and trade for Dame while keeping a nice core and balance enough to go win an NBA championship. And have the assets that would make sense for Portland. And what are those teams are lining up to do that? Where Miami, it's their job at the end of the day to figure out the trade that works, right? Portland has basically told them, look, we don't like your young talent. We're not super high on your young talent. We don't have a need for Tyler Herro. Figure it out. We want picks, we want players. We'll take the young guys, but we want some other stuff involved. And it's up to Miami to kind of wheel and deal and figure that out. And based on the reports we've gotten, Miami is working on, at least internally, on different scenarios and different possibilities in a way to try to get Damian Lillard to Miami. They also want to keep Tyler Herro, it looks like, based on these reports. I don't really know how that's going to work, because it's not like Miami has all of these assets and all of these just potential possibilities to go get X, Y, and Z. Maybe they could flip some of the young guys into picks and stuff and assets. I don't know. Or maybe unload some of these guys that are expiring contracts. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how you already don't have enough to go get Damian Lillard from Miami or from Portland. How do you then go and get the other stuff without Tyler Herro, who's basically your main trade asset? Because you're not trading Bam, you're not trading Jimmy, right? You want to keep those guys. And they have this grandiose vision of keeping Tyler Herro, which Tyler Herro kind of becomes redundant if you get Damian Lillard, right? Yeah, you could keep him off the bench as your sixth man. It kind of gives you some Dame insurance, because Dame's suffered injuries lately. And so it's well, if Dame needs a night off or whatever, you got Tyler Herro that can kind of provide some of that scoring. When Dame's off the court, Tyler Herro could step in and score. You could play them alongside each other, although defensively that would probably be pretty bad. But, Eric Spoelstra has done a very good job of keeping and being able to mask some of these bad defensive guys. Maybe he could figure something out. I don't see it. And I don't know why Portland would be willing to allow that, right? Are they going to take a lesser deal? Now, maybe the thought process is we'll take all of their salary, right? So we'll take Damian Lillard and we'll take Nurkic and whatever else you want to throw at us. We'll take that, but we get to keep Tyler Herro. We'll give you whatever draft picks, the young players, all that. Maybe that's the thinking. right? It's like, they basically locked themselves up long term to a roster that was with the idea of Damian Lillard being there. How do they get out of it? Well, with us, right? But like, I guess you have Duncan Robinson, you have Kyle Lowry, you have a bit of salary that you could kind of use to manipulate and kind of make it work, I guess. Right? And the thought process has always kind of been like they're gonna have to take on Nurkic regardless, which I've said repeatedly, I don't hate the idea of that. Right? Move Bam to the 4. I think that that's fine. Right? And then you have Nurkic at the 5, Jimmy at the 3. You have Dame at the point, and then whoever else, right? Like, depending on who's left on the roster. That's what I mean by whoever else, because, who's going to be left on the roster when all is said and done. But you added some solid depth, right? Like Thomas Bryant, terrible defensive center. He was actually the worst defensive center in the league last year. But he is a guy that can go put the ball in the hoop and go get you buckets. You got Highsmith, which he probably goes out, right? Jaquez probably goes out. Jovic probably goes out. You're probably losing Caleb Martin. You got Josh Richardson. That could be nice, right? So you could go, I guess, Damian Lillard, Josh Richardson, Jimmy, Bam, and Nurkic. Like, that's one of the best starting fives in the league. That's the best 5-man unit Dame's ever played with, right? Like, I think that that's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good spot to be in if you're Miami. And, and then you have some flexibility, and you basically just send out all of your young guys. You send out, like I said, Caleb Martin, Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson. That's a pretty fair amount of salary going out. But all in all, I don't know how you keep Tyler Herro in this deal, right? Because, like, again, you don't have the assets now to go get him. So how do you get more assets without giving out Tyler Herro? Unless Portland's like, we don't want your players to go get picks, then maybe you could package some of these guys to go get some picks. I don't know, but what team is lining up to give picks unless somebody is really high on like Jovic or something, or Jaquez? Like, maybe. The one thing that Miami has in their corner is they seem to be the only real team making an effort to trade for Dame, right? No one else really seems to be stepping up to the plate. And that is something that really gives a lot of benefit to Miami, because you're basically bidding against yourself at that point. Problem is that Portland doesn't have to trade him. And look, I fully believe that they should. I fully believe that they shouldn't wait around and go into training camp with Dame and all this stuff, because I just think it's just such a mess. Now you have that looming over the entire season, and you got your young, just very good, very talented core. You got a guy in Scoot Henderson that he believes that this is his year to win Rookie of the Year and be the franchise guy and take the keys from Dame, and he's looking at it as like, all right, like, now's my moment. Let me take over. You got all these nice young talented pieces, and it's like, unload Dame, unload Nurkic. There's value in unloading Nurkic by itself, right? Like, that's got to compensate for something, right? Like, and then what? Like, you're gonna bring Dame back, and he's not gonna be happy. Like, yes, he's a professional, right? He's gonna play. He's not gonna, try to sabotage. Like, he's not gonna pull James Harden level antics, right? But still, like, it's a bad look for your young stars on your team now, like a Scoot Henderson, that's like, oh, so if I ever want out at some point, Portland's just going to stab me in the back. Cool, got it, right? And it's a bad look for other stars around the league. And I get Portland isn't this like huge free agency destination, but if Portland puts together a very compatible team, you don't think that people aren't going to want, like, if Scoot Henderson, Sharp, Murray, Simons, like, if all these guys really do start panning out, and let's say Portland is like a top 5 team in the league, you don't think that there's a player out there that might go, man, like, I'm the missing piece? Of course they will. I mean, it's not that impossible. It's not that unlikely, right? Like, or maybe you can move some of those pieces to go make a trade to go do that. And you don't want, last thing you want is that star to just be like, I don't want to, like, last place I want to go to is Portland. Look how they treated Dame. It'd be nice to have Damian Lillard in those free agency discussions of like, dude, look at how they treated me. They treated me great. You come here, you're going to, like, you get to be the man. Like, it'd be nice to have that guy in your corner, right? Like, you look at teams like the Lakers. Who do they always have? They always have like Magic Johnson and all the legends, like, because it's a representation of the organization. And, Mr. Blazer, the last, 10 plus years, one of the most loyal guys to your franchise, don't you want him to continue to bat for you even after he leaves, right? Like, I think that'd be a good position to be in. But I don't know. Time will tell, and we'll see. This just feels like a never-ending soap opera, personally. But how do you feel? What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear it. However you feel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. Love to hear it.